First of all, I would like to thank the organizers of this conference for the invitation. It is not for the first time that I'm speaking at the conference which is dedicated to the secularism and to the links between secularism and the feminism and women's condition, but it is for the first time that I'm speaking about it at the conference organized by an association which is not feminist one. And I think it is a very, very good sign. Why? I would like to refer to the title of this conference, which is about empowering women through secularism. I think it is two ways relation. Of course, we know all that women need secularism. We know that all religions, all big religions, are misogynist, discriminate and oppress women, and consequently, less religions can influence the life of society, the life of women, better it is for them. But, on the other hand, there is a question why secularism as the concept, which is the very beautiful child of the Enlightenment from the 18th century, is still somehow an elitist concept and still could not reach the whole society, could not really gain the majority in the society. And I think that one of the reasons, one of them, is the fact that till some time secularists and were not so much caring about the situation of women, about their condition. Or if they were doing so, it was not going to the point of power relation. And I would like to give an example. In Oslo, at 2011, was held the Humanist Congress, Global Humanist Congress, and during this Congress, the French Libre Pensée, so free thought, organized the Global Universal Congress of the International Free Thought. And at that Congress, the International Association of the Free Thought was founded. But if you looked at the table of presidents, it was long, but it was still short to host a single woman there. They were about 8 men. And at the same time, for example, the vice president of the French Libre Pensée is a woman. So I would like to say that, in my opinion, secularism needs as well to gain support and to gain massively as membership women, as women need secularism as a concept which is favoring the equality of rights based on non-discrimination from the religious point of view. And I would like to say that the concept is not new. It is not my finding. French French secularist and the first Minister of Education under the law of laicity in France, Jules Ferry said, celui qui tient la femme tient tout. Et c'est pourquoi l'Église la tient, c'est pourquoi la démocratie doit la lui enlever. In my poor English, for which I really have to apologize, translation would be, he who holds woman holds everything. And that's why the church holds her, and that's why democracy has to take her back, to take her over. It is for, we know all, for many reasons, for the role of woman in the family, for the role of woman to transmitting values. For many reasons, of course, woman is in fact the key factor now in the process of secularization. And what was said in the previous panel, that probably it was said by you, that women really are raising, and women have to raise against the discriminatory and oppressive laws and principles of religion, not one religion, all big religions, is absolutely not only true, but I think it's really now the necessity. The necessity because, as example of country and region from where I come, is that even what could be gained by the hard struggle during these years, for more than 100 years, could be very, very quickly annihilated, could be very quickly lost, like the example of our countries, Poland and the countries of so-called ex-communist regime show. And we agreed between us in this panel that we will not speak from the geographical angle, but geographical perspective, that we will present rather the topic from the matter of competence. But I think that this example need to be known, and especially that yesterday I learned that even people who are interested in secularism are not familiar with it. So with your permission, first I will maybe 3-4 minutes dedicate to show you how it happened if in the country which maybe not secular one. It was maybe something like state atheism, but it was the country, I'm speaking about Poland, but other from the region were similar. The organization of politics in the country were not influenced by religion. What was impact for women's rights, and what happened when the system changed, and how quickly it happened. So in Poland, the fall of the communist regime in 1989 changed dramatically the relationship between church and state. Further, under the so-called communist regime, women disposed freely of their own body. And I maybe will focus on this topic without speaking about political rights, which were not bad, speaking about the statistical participation of women in the legislative and executive powers. So the concept of secularism associated with the defeated regime becomes a symbol of evil. The right, ally of church, promotes two opposing stereotypes: communist equal atheist, traitor of the motherland, and good Pole equal good Catholic. Changes of law, so-called confessional laws, in 1989, the Concordate and the anti-abortion law in 1993, the new constitution and the law on protection of religious feelings in 1997 marked the stage of desecularization and progressing clericalization of the country. The Polish episcopate objected the principle of separation of church and state and replaced it by the principle of autonomy and mutual independence. The same Article 25 of Constitution states the principle of neutrality of the state towards religious or philosophical beliefs of citizens, but after the signature of Concordate, it is just a rhetorical figure. The Polish state financed largely religious activities of churches, especially those of the Catholic Church, chaplains in school, army, police, and firefighters, etc. All of them are paid from the state budget and enjoy the status of public employees. Catholic universities and academies or private theological faculties are financed from the public money, even if law of 1989 on freedom of conscience and religion, still in force in Poland, doesn't allow doing so. The law on education of 91 introduced catechism and respect for Christian values as basic guidelines for education system to public school. The same is for the law of 92 on radio and the television broadcasters, compelling both public and private media to respect Christian values. The Article 196 of the Criminal Code of 97 introduced penalization by prison of the offense of the religious feelings. The law of 98 on the Code of Family and Child Protection, the Civil Code, gave ministers of 11 confessions the same right for conclusion of marriages as to civil officers. Under concordant provisions, a joint committee of church and state is working on founding of the clergy, church institutions and property. These committee decisions are beyond control of public financial and fiscal institutions and justice jurisdiction. The restitution of church property of joint value does not go through the regular legal procedure, placing Catholic Church in Poland above law. The explicit declaration of the alliance of throne and the altar has been made by Grażyna Gęsicka, while minister in the government of Kaczyński. She qualified the Catholic Church as one of the most important state institutions. This desecularization takes place with the complicity of the mainstream media and servility of a big part of intellectuals. Church imposes its morality and its negative views on contraception, sex education, divorce, euthanasia, gay and lesbians, the Charter of Fundamental Rights, etc. And they do it not by force of religious beliefs of their followers, but by force of laws, of state apparatus, and of sin fear. This process has severe damaging effects in the field of consciousness, quality of knowledge and education, opening the large gate for obscurantism. The clarification is methodically introduced to the language, collective imagery, arts. What are the consequences for Polish women? Polish women have enjoyed the right to freely dispose of their bodies for 37 years, since 1956. In 1993, under pressure of the Catholic Church, abortion was banned. After a huge initiative of Polish citizens, 1.5 million signatures demanding a referendum on this subject, this initiative had been completely overlooked, and the Polish parliament passed an anti-abortion bill, one of the most restrictive in Europe. The law on protection of the conceived life admits only 3 cases of legal abortion. Pregnancy being a result of the criminal sexual act, danger to life or health, of serious danger to life or health of the mother, or serious fetal malformations. But once a free abortion banned, doctors refused to perform even legal therapeutic abortions for so-called conscience clause. So paragraph kills used to say in early 30s in the 20th century, Tadeusz Wojzieleński, famous Polish writer, humanist and feminist, killed by Nazi in 49, and paragraph restarted to kill. As we saw also in Ireland. This law causes serious consequences for the health and lives of women in Poland. I will quote only Alicja Tysiąc, who risked blindness, and Agata Lamczek, dead after had been refused the exams and the therapy under pretext that it could have been harmful to the fetus, died from septicemia. The ban on abortion limited access to the prenatal test, originated suffering of children born with severe malformation. Example is Barbara Wojnarowska, who already had a disabled child, but yet was denied the prenatal tests. The declared purpose of this policy is protection of human life, but the real reason is the will of church to control the sexuality and reproduction of women. Moral disagreement of the church did not stop abortion from being performed, but it is done clandestinely with a big health risk. The official statistics show about 150 legal abortions done yearly in Poland, about 10 times less than before ban, but the unofficial sources speak about more than 80,000 illegal abortions per year. An attempt to return to the topic of abortion causes the great anger of the church. One, for example, influential Bishop Pieronek said after one tentative like that, who wants war with the church will get it. Modern contraception is inaccessible. The morning after pill, for example, all contraceptives are sold on prescription but not reimbursed, and many doctors do not prescribe them, always for the conscience clause. And now also also pharmaceutical way of abortion is inaccessible because the pharmacists don't want to sell it, and even don't want object by conscience clause to sell simple contraception. Sexual education is practically non-existent, and there are cases when chaplains teach it. Not surprisingly, the adolescent address to NGOs questions like, for example, whether alcoholic beverages protect against pregnancy, or whether one can get pregnant by swallowing semen. Big efforts have been done to modify a language in order to make deep changes in the consciousness of people. The scientific neutral notions have been replaced by the church terminology. For example, the conceived child or life instead of fetus or embryo, the miracle of conception instead of fecundation, the murder of conceived life instead of abortion. And here I would like to ask you, and it is the claim of young feminists, international feminists gathered in the Women March of Young. It is the claim to stop, that all people who are pro-choice stop to call the opposite movement pro-life. We are all pro-life. We are not anti-life. Even from logical, purely linguistical point of view, the opposite to pro-choice is anti-choice, and let's call them this way, anti-choice movement. Okay, it is not only language, it is even the collective imagery that they are trying to change. For example, our deputy and minister of justice till very, very late time, the conservative deputy from the civic platform, fiercely opposing in vitro fecundation, is hearing the congelated embryos crying, shouting, etc. So it is really, there are many efforts to change completely conscience of people. And access to prenatal tests, as I said, is very hard. Over the past 15 years, there have been many cases where doctors refused invasive prenatal diagnosis to patients despite medical indications. Projects aimed at banning the use of method of in vitro fertilization is another example of attempts to restrict the reproductive rights of citizens. I will pass. Yes, it is quite interesting to see how this approach is clearly obscurantist perspective. When in October 2010, Robert G. Edwards was awarded Nobel Prize in Medicine for in vitro fertilization, just a few days after, in Warsaw, the Catholic Episcopate threatened Polish deputies with excommunication if they vote in favor of in vitro. So the declared purpose of this policy is the protection of so-called conceived life, but it is a protection of unborn life only, without concern for a life of already born or lives of women. For example, a Minister of Health has refused to refund the anesthesia to women during childbirth. Childbirth, she said, is the natural way, and the nature created women the way that certain things must be done by forces of nature. And you can see the parallel with you will give birth in pain. Official statistics show no increase in cases of infanticide and abandonment of infants, but it is not right. We see only the top of the iceberg. I took your time to make this picture because I think that it is really important to see that even if there is no, another way, that all those achievements, all our secular, what we gained, really is always endangered and could be very, very quickly lost. And in this connection, I would like to ask some questions, maybe, to challenge a little bit the perspective from which we are analyzing those phenomena. We are saying that the secular values and the fight for secular values, in fact, is the fight for a secular state. So, in fact, the secular state is offering the best possibility, the best chance to all religious and non-religious options to live in peace together and to ensure the the peaceful cohabitation and the peaceful cooperation. I would say that from the political perspective, and it was my duty, in fact, to speak about. From the political perspective, the secular value appears like a value of cooperation, that the secular state is the frame which can offer this possibility to all options, spiritual options, religious or non-religious, to live peacefully and to cooperate. And in fact, personally, I've never been to any secular state, I must say. And I lived in the late 70s in the former USSR, which was very atheist country, state atheism country. In Poland, which is now very clerical country, but also past about 30 years of state atheism. I lived in France, which is a model of laicity, which is a little bit maybe different from secularism, like it is understood in Great Britain, Ireland. And I also lived some years in Lebanon, where, of course, there was not even pretension to the secular state, but it was a very occidentalized country, and with all 17 confessions living together there, there was a key of a political frame of a political key, giving every confession some role to politically to play. So it was a multi-confessional political organization. But in none of the countries I had the possibility to live, I really could not see the really secular state. And I have some doubts about what we are speaking here. Isn't it just the secular ideal? Is really secular state possible, and is it sustainable, I would say? Because if it is founded on some kind of equilibrium between many different groups, and we are speaking about equilibrium and equality only based on faith, only based on confession, we can see that it is always challenged politically by some political alliances. We could raise the question for secular values, what are suitable alliances? Can the secular values all on their own really be guarantee really that there will be this peace between different options, and that, it is our perspective here, that can really secular state on its own guarantee the equality of women's rights. I think that even if we are speaking only about reproductive rights, I think that it is not so easy, because we can we should take in mind, for example, that the Nazi state was secular, and under Nazi state the role of women were completely reduced. I'm finishing. We can also think about, for example, For example, alliance is political. Usually it is thought that secularism enters, and in my opinion should enter, to the paradigm of left political wing. But we see, for example, Sandinists who posed ban on abortions. So I would like the next panel will be about the secular state. I would so raise a number of questions concerning the limitations of secular state and the limitations of secular values if they are not associated with other values. I would say that in their secular state on its own and secular values on its own, I don't know if they are so omnipotent. There are many other questions, but maybe I will raise them during discussion.